Okay.
Any questions? Okay. Customer qualification. We talked about loss prevention and how it's important, and you guys are the frontline underwriters. We stress it again here in customer qualification. Loss prevention is a significant part of the rental business. Asking the right questions, qualifying the customer, and putting the right driver into the right car. It would be best if you remembered that not everyone who wants to rent a car, like these really nice looking people here, they may not really qualify. All right. Proper qualification is very important. That makes you the front line underwriter of what your insurance package is going to be going forward. Starting with the driver's license, making sure it's valid and laminated. If they're over 21 or 25, those are your decisions, but they must be at least 21. You want to get your insurance verification. Make sure that you're doing your insurance verification by calling and maybe even asking to have something faxed to you. And obviously, an acceptable method of payment. And David and I do not like cash deposits. Okay. A driver's license is the first qualifier for each customer. If the customer does not have a valid driver's license, stop the renter right there. Repeat customers must qualify every time they pick up a car. They also need to show a valid license. Although an excuse for not having the license sounds plausible, do not rent. You're going to hear things like, I rented from you yesterday. Why do I have to show you my license today? Well, frankly, the sheriff could have taken it away last night. Although an excuse for not having the license sounds plausible, do not rent. Apologize for the inconvenience, but repeat that you must see the valid driver's license. And if you have to, give the fella or a gal a ride over to pick up her license. The physical description on the license should fit the customer, and the signature must match. This brings up an issue. I'm Japanese. Can you read Japanese?
What?
Can anybody in your store read Japanese?
Not today.
Not today. Can anybody in your store read Korean?
Nope.
So if somebody comes in from Korea, they're going to hand you a driver's license. And you want to see the driver's license from the home country, and we'll talk more about that later. But the signature has to match what's on the home document. If the customer's name is John, if he's going to sign it as John Lee, doesn't count unless his driver's license is American and he signed it in John Lee. So don't get caught in that trap. The license should not expire during the time of the rental. All numbers must be complete and legible. Some states have a two-part license. Ask to see both parts. And I think that's going away. I think there's only one state left, and I don't even know what it is. Never accept a temporary license or a learner's permit. You cannot accept a learner's permit or a temporary license. If the license lists moving violations, you may opt to refuse the rental because of multiple violations. This whole piece right here, that's entirely up to you. In some states, if a person has a moving violation, they take away his driver's license. Well, that's real simple. If they take away his driver's license, he can't rent, right? So not to worry. Active duty military. You're going to get telephone calls, or you're going to have people show up at the counter, and they're going to show you their military driver's license. The reason that happens from time to time is during the Second World War, the Department of Motor Vehicles in all the states agreed to not hold the military returnees to the same standards as someone who's never had a license before. If they had a license, their license never expired. When they came back, all they had to do was show their expired driver's license, and they would just print them another driver's license and send them on their way. They didn't have to take any tests. That's what that was all about. So today, if an active military person shows up and shows you his military driver's license, unless you have an Abrams tank, he can't drive your cars. So if you have to, run them over to the DMV to get a license. International visitors. Remember I said about making sure that the signatures match.
Yes.
David, you've had more experience with international visitors than I have. You want to talk a little bit about this?
Sure. Only accept a license in English if you can see it. Now let's talk about the international license. Someone might come to you with an international license. All that is their home license translated into English or a number of different languages so that you can read the license. And that's all it is. The international license is not a license to drive. All right. However, some countries with the United States have treaties that allow, let's say, people from Brazil to drive in the United States on a Brazilian license, and that's fine. If you can read Brazilian or Portuguese, I don't believe you can, then you're a step ahead. All right. But remember something, that here's the caveat to this whole thing with international licenses and people. They don't have liability insurance that works in the United States. And because they don't have liability insurance, you're not supposed to rent to them. If you do, you put your liability insurance in first position, which you never want to do. Okay. So, however, you've got this guy in front of you. I want you to know the whole story. The international license is just a translation. All right. And you might want to ask for a passport or a visa. I don't think a visa is necessary from Brazil, but it might be. All right. And then you don't return the license or the documents until after they've signed the rental contract and you completed all the signatures. However, the caveat is now, international visitors can purchase, and I think we mentioned this before, they can purchase liability insurance from their home country that's acceptable in the United States. But it has to be purchased before they arrive, and it has to be purchased in their country. And they can go online and car rental insurance for the United States and buy it and bring you a document showing that they have liability insurance that'll pay claims in the United States. If you have that, go ahead and proceed with your international driver's license, the home driver's license. And if you're uncomfortable, the passport or visa. And some people are asking for the return air ticket, just to make sure that there is a return air ticket the customer is going to return.
What if there is not?
What?
What if there is no returning ticket and they say, well, we will see how long we're going to stay here?
That's
Well,
your
they would
discretion.
have they'll have a return air ticket if they bought a round trip, right? If they bought one way and open return, fine. All right. All we're asking for is documentation to make you comfortable that you know who you're giving the car to and that you've got a good shot at getting it back.
And that
Right.
becomes your determination whether or not you want to get really, really strict. Honestly, gang, you can. I had a lady started out with 5 cars. I called her 30 days later. She says, well, I rented one. I said, great. What about the other 4? Well, nothing's happening yet. Okay. Go out and make your sales calls, blah, blah, blah. Long and the short of it, after 3 months, I called her and she said she was going to give it up. And I said, why? She says, there's nobody in this town that is good enough to rent my cars. She set her qualifications so hard that I don't think she would have rented to her mother.
Right.
Okay. So somewhere along the line, you guys have to, and that's what this piece is about. You're going to be building your policies and procedures.
Right.
And we're giving you what you can put in your policy procedures. But remember, if you really, really, really want to eliminate all risk, you won't rent to anybody.
Yeah, that's about true, isn't it? Yeah.
If you follow everything your insurance company says, I'm going to turn off the recording here. If you follow everything your insurance company says, you're not going to rent to anybody.
You'll be out of business, yeah.
You have to make decisions that you are comfortable with. And that's when you build your policies and procedures manual. And that's the overriding thought for today. Sorry, David, go ahead.
Okay, so again, like you said, we're going to give you the information and you make your management decisions, what you want to do at your counter. But we want you to understand the long story here. Okay. All right, Age, any questions on this international license stuff?
I want to throw one more thing in, David.
Yeah.
If you cannot read the driver's license, when somebody hands you an international driver's license, you need to see their home document.
Mhm.
Now, if the home document is in Korean, you want to look at the signature because he probably or she signed that document with her Korean signature.
Mhm.
That is the signature that you need them to sign on your rental agreement. Here's why. It happened to me. Had a lady that rented a car, ran up a $900 bill, and went back to Hong Kong. And she called up American Express and said, that's not my signature. My signature is this. Because she signed all our documents, including the American Express voucher, because we were still using vouchers at the time. And she signed it, Joanna Lee, L.I. Well, guess what? That was not her signature. Her signature looked like chicken scratching, which is the Chinese characters. And she charged it back, and American Express said, yeah, you're right. That's not your signature.
No way.
I lost the $900.
Wow.
So always ask for the international driver's license and the home document. Don't go around that one.
Okay, if you are doing a lot of business from people from Brazil and South America, if you can get reservations, all right? When a reservation comes in or a reservation request comes in, ask them to purchase liability insurance for the rental from their home country. There's plenty of time to do it. You can do it in 10 minutes on the computer. And then that'll satisfy your requirement. You can rent to all the people from South America that you wish to that can provide that document. Okay. Age, your insurance company requires they be 21 or over.
Question.
Mhm.
Is there a liability insurance company for every country, or is it just worldwide that they can just buy? Can you recommend them one?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Is there a
one place?
Is there a specific form for that liability insurance,
No.
or is every
No.
country?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, when they're making their reservation, if it's not coming through a travel agent, then tell them to contact a local travel agent and get a liability insurance policy from their local travel agent. If it's coming from a travel agent, contact the travel agent and tell them that the customer needs to purchase from them a liability insurance, travel insurance, or travel insurance that includes liability in the US.
Ask them if there's one that's worldwide. that they
Uh-huh.
can just go on.
And
Is
every country is different, you know, every travel agent is different. There's probably 20 companies out there that sell it. So
Mhm.
just your local travel agent in wherever.
Okay.
What should the limits be?
What are the limits?
You just want to require state limits.
State limits.
Yep.
Our state, yeah, 10, 20 ton.
That doesn't cover the cost of it, that's all.
No, that's just liability. Third party.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Your insurance carrier probably requires the customer has liability insurance. That's exactly it. If they're here in town, or they're local, you're gonna call the insurance company, their agent, and you're gonna tell them, Billy Bob is here renting my car. If he smashes it up, will you pay me? David, what happens if I call the insurance agent and ask him if Billy Bob has insurance?
Well, he'll probably say, oh yeah, he's fine. Now, you don't know if he has liability and collision. All right. So you really didn't satisfy much of anything.
No.
You want to ask, when you call the agent, say, Mr. Billy Bob is renting my car. If he smashes up my car or damages my car, will you pay me? Very simple.
That's simple.
And you should write that down. They're going to come back with one of only 3 possible answers. The first one and the best one would say, oh, yes, he's well covered and will pay. All right. Your name. All right. And put it down, that person's name and the date that you got that answer. You might even ask them to fax over a statement that the insurance will cover it, or their binder. All right, so you've got documentation. All right, the second possible answer would be, yes, no, we're not going to pay because his insurance, he doesn't have collision insurance, or his collision insurance will not transfer to a rental car. All right. Well, you know he's got liability. Now you can, you're okay on that side. Okay. And now your only risk is the $1,000 deductible on your collision. The third possible answer, and the worst one, would be, oh no, we no longer insure Mr. Smith. Well, now you know his insurance was canceled either by them or by him, and he has no insurance, and you have to stop the rental. You can't make the rental. Okay. So it's really a very simple process if you just follow those steps. Okay.
Now,
Question. When they ask you,
if somebody hands you their insurance card, don't take that as proof of insurance. Call the telephone number on that insurance card, because Carl, you could sign up today for insurance and not make your first payment. But that insurance card's in your wallet.
That's good for 6 months. Yeah.
You had a question, Carl?
Yeah, is it possible the insurance company is gonna ask how much is the car he's renting?
Yes, that's up to them.
Yeah.
Because some insurance companies will only transfer if it's a like kind
Yeah.
or an insurance replacement. That's why it's very important to call.
Mhm.
So we should ask he's renting a Tesla so that they know it's
Yeah.
more expensive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For the limit, right?
Can we ask for the limit?
Some people require, and I'm gonna throw this out. Some rental car companies that rent exotic cars, and you're a heartbeat away from being an exotic car rental company. They require a certificate of insurance. When the customer, because you're not gonna get walk-in rentals. You've got time once they make a reservation. So they require a certificate of insurance showing the liability and collision for a Tesla and for the rental car company, and they are marked as a additional insured.
Additional insured. Mhm.
Okay. Go ahead, David.
All right, any questions on that so far?
A certificate of insurance that marks us as an additional
That
insured?
shows you as an additional insured
Right,
for
right,
both collision and liability
right.
during the term of the rental. And most of your customers, you're not dealing with the bottom feeders.
Hmm.
Most of your customers are going to be well-heeled. So when you make a phone call like that, the insurance company can step up, and the customer will have to pay a little bit more, but he doesn't care. Most rental car companies require a major credit card. Why?
Reimbursements, holds on the car.
That's what a lot of people think. All a credit card is good for is the charges for the rental. If you go after them for the damage that was done and you put it on the rental agreement and they dispute it, they can take the charges off and you lose everything.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
So
Right.
if they want to pay for damages done with a credit card, not a problem. You want it on a separate invoice, not on your rental agreement. And I would even ask for a different credit card. Okay. David, you want to throw anything in on that?
Well, no, but I would want to say that you want to make sure that the, excuse me, that the name on the credit card is the same as on the driver's license. What you want is, yeah,
Excuse
yes,
me.
Pam.
We have a question. Do they have to also sign the authorization
No,
form?
no. So,
Credit card.
so let's say after their trip is complete and they have some damages and you want to have them pay for that, they have to authorize that payment for the damages.
Mhm. You would put that on a separate invoice and run the credit card for an approval, just like you do normally. It would be a separate transaction entirely. And that's for your safety, because as Jim said, if you put the damages on the same charge and the customer should dispute it, they're going to kick back the entire thing, rental and damages. All right, if you separate the two, then the customer disputes the damage, you still get paid on the rental, and you can argue on the damages. And where do you get this? Where you're going to get this is if you're charging somebody, let's say $800 for a ding, And the guy goes home and he said, no, that's too much. And he calls around and finds out he can have the ding taken out of his Chevy for $350. Now he figures that you're socking it to him and he's going to dispute it. All right, well, taking a ding out of a Tesla is different than taking a ding out of a Chevy. You've got an argument there. All right, but that's how it could happen. All right, and not necessarily on the spot. It's about 3 days later when he gets home. So if the charges are fair, you won't have much of that. I had a situation in Seattle years ago where they were using pea gravel on the ground for snow. And we were getting a lot of ding windshields, and the operator was trying to charge $500, or excuse me, at the time it was $300 for a windshield. But instead of replacing the windshield, he was having one of these repair companies coming in and gluing up the ding for $35. And you can't do that. They got busted on it, and we cleaned that one up. But that was expensive. Okay, so you can't do that. You gotta bill them what you paid. And if you get that $800 ding fixed for $350, you've got to credit the difference between what you took and the $350. Okay.
What
All
about
right. Pardon me. Yes.
What about the time? Can you fight that for the time that it took you to fix that ding and the time of
Sure.
not?
Yeah. Yeah, we call it loss of use. Yes, you can charge for loss of use. You have every right to do that. All right, to make that car rentable again. All right. And on the back of the contract, the customer is responsible for all charges. All right, so you might read that some night when you want some really exciting reading. All right. It's fascinating, but it's there to protect you.
Most insurance companies have a formula that they use for loss of use. And it's based on the average rental charge. So let's say your average rental charge is $100 a day. Okay. What they do is they take the number of repair order hours on the repair order. Now, let's say the repair order is 40 hours. They divide it by either 6 or 8. So let's divide it by 8 just so we can do it in our heads. That's 5 days. Plus a day in front to get the appraisal and a day in the back to get the car cleaned up and ready for service. So you could charge on a 40-hour repair. You could charge 7 days of loss of use. But at your average, even if it sat for 13 days or 21 days waiting for a part, all you're allowed to charge is the repair order hours. And most insurance companies will not pay loss of use. So your loss of use charges have to be charged to the customer. And by doing that calculation with 6 or 8 hours for the loss of use against the repair order, that's pretty fair. And even if they wanted to dispute it with the credit card company, the credit card company will stand behind you on something like that. Yes.
So, okay, a car comes back and has a scratch on it. Do you wait for the claim to go through, or do you fix it right away
Fix it right away.
with your own money?
Your own money.
And
The longer
then
the car sits, it's lost opportunity. You're losing those rental days. All right. And if you want to rent it again, you're renting a car with damage. That's up to you. I don't do it. All right, so the idea is get that thing in the shop right away, get it fixed right away and back on rent. And then deal with the documentation after the fact.
Okay.
The big
That's my
answer-
opinion. Yeah,
Yeah, that's not only the opinion, that's the smartest way to do it, David. Because-
absolutely.
Because what business are we in? Selling rental days. Not collecting on loss of use and all this kind of stuff and punishing our customers. Our whole deal is get the car back on the road to generate revenue.
That's right.
And the best way to do that is when the car comes in with a dent, drive it right to the body shop, get the appraisal handled right away, get the accident report right away, get everything done before the customer leaves, and or most of it before the customer leaves. And then tell the body shop, go ahead, fix it, and we'll pay you. And in many cases, the body shop will accept your business, especially if you're giving them everything. They'll accept your business and the billing from the insurance company because they bill insurance companies all day long.
Mhm.
So too often rental operators say, well, I make money on all my damage. Why?
You're not supposed to.
Yeah, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to get them fixed back on the road. All right?
Right, you can't bank on loss of use to
Mm-mm,
run your business. No,
mm-mm.
no.
Now, there is something that I wanted to mention back here on method of payment. Visa and MasterCard. When you set up your Visa and MasterCard, you want to make sure that you're set up as a rental car company. So that when you swipe the credit card, it automatically asks you for the rental agreement number, the date out and the date in. If it asks you that information, you're set up properly. The reason being, during high season, like a holiday, Thanksgiving, Christmas are coming up. If you have 5 reservations for Christmas Eve and you're waiting and waiting and waiting for those 5 people to get there and 2 of them don't show, you can charge those 2 that did not show for 1 day. And they can dispute it until the cows come home, doesn't matter. Because Visa will back you up. Okay? If you're passing all the proper information. So that's just a thought when you're getting set up for your credit cards.
Let me finish up on that. You got to make sure that you have a customer that has both, or excuse me, all of the requirements all by himself. Your customer has to have the driver's license, the credit card in his name, the insurance in his name, etc. All right. What you're going to get is 2 people are going to come to the counter. Reservation or not, doesn't matter because you probably have not qualified them at the time the reservation came in. And one guy is going to have the driver's license, but no credit card. The other guy is going to have a credit card, no driver's license. Because he doesn't own a car, is the story. What are you going to do? Well, in that situation, you have 2 unqualified people. You don't have a qualified person, and you have every right to turn down the rental. You get me? And that's what I would do for 40 years. I want one person that has it all. I'm not going to split this up. Because how am I going to get a signature on a contract with somebody that doesn't have a license? All right. It's and I can't put them on the rental agreement because they don't have a license. All right. So I do have operators that have done it and successfully. I have operators that have lost a car that way. All right. So that again is going to be up to you, but that's my recommendation. One guy has everything and go forward. Now remember, you're dealing with a $65,000, $75,000 car. So in my opinion, you should be much more careful with the documentation of who you give the car to. All right. And don't fall into the trap of thinking you have to compete with Enterprise, which you don't, or any of the airport guys, because they're in a different world. Yes, and next, driver's license, credit card, insurance card, thank you. Next, driver's license, credit card, insurance. That's all they do all day long. All right. It's not their problem. All these other issues we're talking about are what we call backroom. Any problem that comes up with the rental is pushed off to the back room, and nobody in the operational really have a clue. All right. And then they'll issue a memo on new procedures and policies. All right. But remember, you're in a different world. You don't even have Enterprise as a competitor. Even though Enterprise may offer a Tesla from time to time, it's hard to get. They only have one here, one there. They don't have the infrastructure to rent Teslas. All right. And at the airport, they're never going to have the infrastructure to rent Teslas. All right. So again, you're in a different world. You've got an expensive car. The average car that Enterprise is renting is probably 22 grand. And yours is higher. Okay, cash deposits. I would never, ever rent a car to somebody who did not have a credit card. It simply wouldn't happen. None of the big boys will do it. The only places that will rent on a credit card might be a very small local operation, all right, that might rent on a cash deposit. And what we're talking about here is someone who does not have a credit card, so we're going to take a cash deposit instead. Now, if you wish to do that, you certainly can. All right. However, if we're going to do that, we want a few other things on it in addition to everything else we discussed. First off, I'm going to want, and do you have an interest in this, in renting to someone without a credit card? Huh? No? Yes?
Can you?
I would not, if I were in
I
your
would not.
position, I would not rent for cash under any circumstances.
Right.
The only one that I would probably, if the Sultan of Dubai or Brunei showed up and he wanted 27 cars and he was going to pay cash, not a problem. I'll get cash deposit out of him, plus the rental in advance and his insurance coverage and everything from the Sultan of Brunei. That's pretty much the only way I would do that, a cash rental. Okay. And by the way, I was involved in one of those transactions with Beverly Hills Rent-A-Car. We went to the Beverly Hilton to collect on this next month's rental. And the Sultan of Brunei is sitting there in a beautiful suit. Okay. I won't look that good when I'm dead. And they brought him in. He's turned to his guy and just waved his fingers a little bit. They brought in a box, a strong box, set it down, opened it up, and counted out the $100 bills to pay for 27 cars for the next month. Because the Sultan doesn't touch money, it's dirty. So his people counted it out and handed it to us. I don't care, I'll get dirty. Yeah. Okay. So that was a cash rental. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so on a cash rental, you can read this if you're interested in doing it. I certainly would not, but I want you to just understand one statement. If the customer cannot qualify to get a credit card or cannot keep a credit card or a debit card in this day and age, why do I want to give them a $65,000 car? So that's what I have in my mind, and that's what the big boys have in their mind when they're renting cars.
You're
If
setting
you
up
have a
your-
customer-
you're setting up your policies and procedures. Because none of you are going to be there 365, 24 hours a day. Right? Some of you are going to take a vacation. Some of you are going to take a day off. Some of you might have to go to the dentist. All right. So somebody else has got to watch the front counter and make decisions. So you need to set your rental policies as your counter procedures. Confirm that everybody knows those rental policies so that they present a professional service to the customer. Clarify your office hours. Know the action of a customer should take if he expects to return after hours. Set your geographic restrictions for the use of the vehicle. Always ask in advance where the customer will be traveling. Advise the customer of your approved or geographic restrictions and note it on the contract. Set your policies for any exceptional circumstances in your operational area. Your insurance carrier imposes a maximum daily rental of 30 days. You cannot rent a car for longer than 30 days. If somebody wants a car for longer than 30 days, you got to go and meet them or have them come in and write a new contract. And I would suggest at that point, switch cars. Set a policy regarding the repeat and regular customers. Since you should have all the information on file in previous rental forms to save the customer's time and expedite the rental, you may want to allow your counter agents to write the agreement ahead of time. However, always be sure that they check the driver's license and other items on that rental. And that's going to happen a lot when you have your rental software up front. Find out from your insurance carrier all the restrictions that apply to customers or the vehicles you rent. And research your state laws and tax requirements for any that may apply to your business. Have you talked to the state tax department yet?
Oh, I would talk to our taxes lady, and she is aware now of that surcharge.
You are on the surcharge?
Yes.
Good. Good. What do you know about this picture other than it's from a long time ago?
There's a timer on the.
Is that cool? Because back then you used to pay by the minute for your phone calls. So a lot of people would put a little timer on there so they would know when to end the phone call.
No way.
No way. Yeah. So there's the timer right there. It's a what do they call them?
Hourglass.
An egg timer. Yeah.
All right.
And I love the watch, the ring, and the gem, whatever, and the beads. Just a beautiful picture.
Mhm.
Most of your customers have their first contact with your company through the telephone. It's been said you never have a second chance for a first impression. In this business, the first impression usually begins with the telephone. Telephone skills are so crucial. We're going to break them down to the essential components. David, what drives you the most insane when we call a rental car company?
The thing that bothers me the most is when they say hello.
Yep.
All right. And why? Well, here's one of the issues. They're trying to do business on a cell phone. And when you're on your cell phone, you're going to get calls from your family, your neighbors, your friends, your doctors, and you answer hello.
Yep.
But when you're trying to do business on the same phone number, you're going to say hello when a customer calls. And when I call a client, and we call our clients all the time, when I call and they say hello, I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was calling a car rental company," and I hang up. All right. And we get it all the time. All right, so it's up to you, but you've got to answer the phone properly. You got to speak slowly. I get this all the time. It's not my age. Maybe, right, we all have it. They go, really? All right, well, that didn't help me at all. Excuse me, who did I call? All right. So you want to speak clearly, speak phone. You want to identify yourself, identify the business. All right. Hello, thank you for calling. Try a Tesla. My name is Amanda. How may I help you? It isn't that hard. And if I'm going to pay $200 plus to rent a car, I expect an upper grade experience from beginning to end. And I see, since we first started this, and I see on your website that you're selling an experience. Well, don't start the experience with hello. All right. That's not the proper start for an experience. So it's always best, make sure you and your staff do the same thing. I thank the prospect for the call, identify the business, identify yourself, and offer your help with the please. May I help you, please? That's what I expect if I'm going to rent a high-end car from a high-end company. Sound like a lot? No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Thank you for calling Try a Tesla. My name is Amanda. May I help you, please? That is not difficult, especially if you know you're answering a business line. So you might advertise a hard line for your business, or if you insist on doing it by cell, get another cell phone. All right, I've got two. I have a cell phone that I use for my personal use. Very few people have that number. And when that number gets called, I know I'm talking to a friend. I have another cell phone that's business. When it rings, I know it's either business or a junk call, right?
Wait a minute, which number am I calling?
Well, you call everywhere. You even call my wife to see if I'm around.
Yes,
Right,
and
so-
everybody calls my wife to see where I
right, but you have more access to me than my doctor does.
am.
All right. Okay, so anyhow, you've got to do it. Now, when they call, here's the interesting thing. What are they going to ask? You're dealing with a customer that probably doesn't really know what to ask. All right, hopefully you're going to be getting a lot of first-time customers. We always want repeat business, but remember, you cannot grow on repeat business. You're just repeating what you've already got. You have to have new business to grow your business. And they don't know what to ask half the time. They're going to say, well, how much are your cars? They're going to come up with an answer, a question like that. What kind of Teslas do you rent? Well, I would never. I don't know. But a lot of people would ask that because I'm a customer now. Remember, I'm a potential customer. I've never rented a Tesla. I've never bought a Tesla, but I have an interest in it. I own stock in the company, right? I think it would be fun. What questions am I going to ask when I call you? Okay. What Teslas do you have? How much are your cars? You got to take control of the conversation. All right. What happens if you say, we rent Ys and they're $285 a day? Oh, okay. Now what you got? You got the pregnant pause.
Oh, that's
Customer
awesome.
doesn't know what to ask next. You don't know what to ask next. All right. How do you do it? It's very simple. When they ask, how much are your Teslas? Are you and any additional drivers over 25? Oh, yeah. Well, there won't be any additional drivers, and I'm 38. Okay, great. Thank you. Will you be using the car locally or going out of town? Oh, no, we're just going to be local. I just want to play with a Tesla, see what they're like. Okay, great. What major credit card will you be using? Oh, I'm gonna use my Amex. Okay, fine. And how long do you need the car? Oh, I think maybe just a day. All right, fine. Everything's working out just fine. And sir, when did you want to pick up the car? Oh, I'd like to pick it up this afternoon. Okay, decision time. Do you want to make this rental? I would. It sounds great. He's 38 years old. He's going to be local. He wants it for one day. He's on an Amex card, no additional drivers. How better does it get? Unless, of course, he wants it longer. All right, so now, all right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to jump forward one paragraph. I'm going to ask for the sale. Okay, sir, now those cars are very, very popular and we're very busy right now. Let me take a reservation for you and hold the car for you. What time would you like to be in today? Ask for the sale.
But you haven't told them the price.
No, you haven't yet. And you'd be surprised the number of times you don't have to. Believe me, I've done this for 40 years. Now, the customer might say, well, now, wait a minute, how much is it? Okay, well, sir, we have a special today. You want a car for one day, it would be $312 with tax. All right. Would you like us to pick you up? Again, ask for the sale again. You're not, you know, you've asked to make the reservation. He's asked for the rate. Now you're offering to pick him up. I mean, how much better is it going to get for him and you? Now, if he says, well, sir, I'm sorry, I can't spend that kind of money. Okay. Up to you. Do you want to negotiate or just let him go? Up to you. All right. You could say something like, well, you know, wait a minute. Today is Tuesday. We have a special. If you're only going to have it one day during the week, I can let you have it for $2.25. Yeah, I mean, I'm going beyond, but you could do that. All right, let's go back. Now the customer is, you're not comfortable. All right, he's 26. He's going to use his mother's credit card and he's got an additional driver, his girlfriend, who's 17. They're from Brazil. All right. All right. 17 is okay in Brazil. All right. You don't want to make the rental. What's the best way to do it? When did you want the car? Today? Oh, I'm so sorry. We just won't have a car for you. You're not saying you're sold out. He might be across the street and see you've got 10 cars sitting there. You don't want to lie to him. All right. That's not good business. You say, I'm sorry, I won't have a car for you today. Why don't you try Enterprise? All right. That's how you handle it. Now he's not mad. You're not mad. If you give him a reason, well, I'm sorry, we can't rent on your mother's credit card. He's going to go he's going to call back or have his girlfriend call back and say, oh, we got a Visa card. And then the issue is you won't know until they walk in that they don't qualify. All right. So if all you're going to do is quote rates and not ask questions, you can make a reservation yourself for somebody who does not qualify for the car. Now what happens, to my experience, they come in to get the car and they say, what do you mean I can't use Aunt Mabel's credit card? You never told me. Now you got an argument at the counter. And we don't want that. Okay. All right. And when you take a reservation, see, now you made a promise. And they're expecting you're going to fulfill that promise. All right, so you want to track that reservation. You want to make sure that you are ready to service that reservation. All right. And there's a lot of talk about no shows. Of course it happens. There's talk about being overbooked. I've had both. All right. Overbooking is a constant problem with airport operators because you might have 600 reservations for the day. All right, you expect 400 to show up. You've got 398 cars and 500 show up. That's common but when you're dealing with 7, 8, 10, 15 cars, you shouldn't really be having that problem. If you have that problem, all right, you got to look at your policies. All right. Now, if you wish, on your type of car, you can certainly ask for the credit card number for the first day or for a reservation deposit. All right, $50, $100, $200. And if they cancel within 24 hours, no refund. You can do that if you wish. All right. All right. Now you want to track your reservations. Any software system will do it. And RentCentric, if you enter the reservations into RentCentric, it'll track them for you. It'll give you what we call a manifest. And you can pull a list of reservations 3 weeks out. I used to like to pull them months out, especially going into holidays, and start to try to adjust my fleet to suit the reservations. Okay. One thing I do not suggest is that you let the computer confirm reservations. All right, there's people that want to do that, and especially virtual, where you don't want to have contact with the customer, and that's getting very popular, especially with the younger set. They don't want any contact. Okay, that's fine. RentCentric will do it for you if you want to pay for it. You put in your fleet, you network your reservation system to that through your website, through RentCentric, and it will automatically book the cars for you, or it'll automatically confirm reservations. The problem that you have there is this: when it's automatically confirming a reservation, it's going to confirm everyone that comes through. And if you're sitting there, you're opening up one day with 5 cars, and you pull up your reservation manifest, and you got 18 reservations because there's something hot in Miami, all right, and they're all booking through you. Now you're sitting there, 13 cars or 13 reservations overbooked. So we suggest your reservations come through as a reservation request, as an email. And I'm looking at yours, and that's pretty much what you're doing. All right. Okay, manual tracking, you can certainly do that. You can use a desk calendar, a counter calendar, anything you like. I don't like to stick yellow sticky notes on the wall, all right, but I've seen it. Computer tracking, we've discussed, all right. Any questions so far on all that? You might take a look at your website, Carlo, and say, I am a customer. And I would just like to take 2 minutes. All my life, I've always looked at my business as the customer. All right, I want to be the customer. When I walk into the business, what's it look like? What do the people sound like? What do the cars look like? How's it set up? I always want to keep the eyes of the customer. When you lose the eyesight of the customer and you become the eyesight of the owner, your service can start to slip real fast. All right, in this business. So I like to look at it in the eyesight with the customer. And today, the first thing I want to look at is my website. And I want to say, I'm the customer. I've heard about Try a Tesla. Let me pull up the website and see what they got. Your website needs a lot of work. I'll leave it at that. Maybe we'll get there later.
We're in the process of a new website. That was just something we did just to have
I'm sorry.
time if the other, since in the meantime of the other one being created, the website that we have right now is just something so people could look at.
Okay, well, that's, yeah, and it's very attractive. It's very attractive, so that's good. You did a good job there. All right. Okay, Jim.
The customer experience. It is extremely important because you guys are in a little different note than a regular rental car company. You are selling an experience. When a customer comes in the door, you've got a reservation, you've got the car ready, you've done everything right. Or have you? Give the customer your undivided attention. Imagine if you could, Carl, you're the customer, you're standing at the counter, and Amy and Indra are arguing over, they're standing over in the corner, and they're arguing over who's going to pay for sandwiches this time. It's your turn to buy. No, it's your turn to buy. And you're trying to focus on the customer, and the customer's trying to focus on you. And you got these two ladies over arguing over the sandwich. It's a distraction.
Terrible.
So very important. Any conversation that is going on is a distraction when you are with a customer. So if a customer walks in and there's three of you standing around waiting for the next product or whatever, everybody leaves except the person that's handling the reservation. Go in the back room, turn off the radio, turn off the TV, go over and feed the dead fish in the fish tank. Okay. And eliminate those noises. Always make sure the counter is good and clean. And the only thing that really should be on top of the counter is the computer and a rental agreement and a pen. And even the rental agreement doesn't have to be there. If you set up Rent-Centric and it prints out the rental agreement, you don't even need to have a rental agreement on the counter. Get acquainted with the customer. One of the things that I found out when I moved down south, now remember, I used to live in New York, and I thought the people in New York talk fast. When I moved to South Carolina, I couldn't believe how fast people talk.
Mhm.
So the pickup truck, did you get it fixed, did you?
What?
Yeah.
What? Huh?
Wow. And it's usually, did you go get it fixed, did you?
Mhm.
All right. They understood it. I didn't understand it. So it's very important that you not hurry your speech. Don't talk too fast. Actively listen to the customers. And by the way, Indra, I was asking if you got the pickup truck fixed. So use courtesy terms such as please, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, thank you. One of the things that I love to hear today is it's my pleasure. Instead of you're welcome, they're using oh, it's my pleasure. And then they throw in a thank you. All right.
They say anytime or our pleasure.
Say again.
Anytime or our pleasure.
Exactly. In other words, they're paying your bills.
Mhm.
They're the people that are going to refer other people to you. It's extremely important that they are treated like a king and a queen. Most people are not treated that way when they go in to buy something, or at least, and especially when they go in to buy a rental car. They're treated like cattle. Get in line, get in line. All kidding aside, get in line, stay over there, get your driver's license out and your credit card, stay there. Next. It's like in a slaughterhouse. Okay?
Excuse me, just a second.
Go ahead, Dave.
Have you guys heard of Nordstrom department stores?
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're extremely expensive. They know it and they love it,
Mhm.
right? Why are they so successful when JCPenney and Sears have failed?
Customer service.
Customer
Bingo.
service.
Hmm.
You're the king, you're the queen. And if you can afford to pay this price for our stuff, boy, we can service you.
Yep.
Right?
And
And
they
they're
just-
successful.
They
Very
just
successful.
closed the last Sears store last week.
Really?
Yeah.
All gone.
That's
Right.
that.
Okay? The biggest
Kmart.
retailer in the country. Gone.
Yeah. Done. And for damn good reason,
Yeah, they
in my
screwed it up.
opinion.
They
Yeah,
screwed it up.
they sure did.
Use professional and polite business language. Do not use jargon.
Yeah, but that's like Walmart. Walmart is skyrocketing in their.
Walmart is in danger if they don't straighten up their act. Maintain a positive attitude when you're talking with your customers. Don't use lingo. Do you know what I mean by lingo or jargon?
Yes, we
Yeah,
understand.
don't say, by the way, did you want that CDW? Okay, they don't know what CDW is. So what they want to know is if I smash up the car, what do I have to pay? So now it's up to you to explain it. Making a good rental does not mean getting a high rate. Making a good rental begins with a good contract. Creating a meeting of the minds, qualifying the customer, and making a good return. That's a good rental. A good contract begins with accurate information on the document with no blank spaces. And getting reliable contract information. Even with today's software programs, you may not be getting all the information you need unless you have the right setup. Here's a couple of tips for you. Make sure that everything that's on the handwritten contract is the same information that you're getting when you set up RentCentric. And there's a couple of things I would put in there to add. I would add an emergency phone number. You'd be surprised the number of people that may or may not even think about an emergency phone number. God forbid, Mr. Jones, I need an emergency phone number in case something happens. They lied to you about everything on the rental agreement, but they'll blurt out their mother's phone number. Okay. So ask for an emergency phone number. There's another thing. Always ask for a social security number.
Where?
Some customers will refuse to give it. No problem, Mrs. Jones, but I do need at least the last four.
I was gonna
Okay.
ask, but it's okay to ask for the social?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. If they don't want to give it to you,
Talking about that, do you guys recommend a website where we can check driver's license for every state, or do you have to go to that particular state?
let me see. No, yes, yes. No, we don't. We had a site for a while that we were using, but only 11 states sign up for it.
Oh,
And even then, it's not up to date. It's usually off by at least a week or so, and a couple of them were 6 months. A couple of the states. There is no direct link, and part of the reason is many states have decided that it is a invasion of privacy to be able to get somebody's driver's license.
because just, because when we go on, sometimes on the website for the state, it asks for the last four of the social.
There you go. They're using it as an an identifier. And you can do the same. Ask for the last four of the social.
What if they refuse to give you the social security number?
I would ask for the whole social security number.
Huh?
I would ask for the whole social security number.
Yeah, but what if they refuse?
Or what if they ask you, why do you need it?
Because I'm giving you a $60,000 car. And if you don't bring it back, I won't be able to find you.
So if they refuse, you don't rent it?
No. No, again, we're telling you what you should do. If you have a difficult, a lot of people are afraid to ask for it.
Yeah, that's what I was feeling. I was kind of feeling afraid to ask. I didn't want them to feel we were trying to do anything weird.
We are. We want to make sure that they bring the car back. Now,
So how would you
let's be real.
saying?
You can ask for it. I need your social security number, please. Well, what do you need that for? The insurance company. If you get a lot of resistance, I just need the last four of your social, please. Now, why do you really care? Skip tracing. If the car comes back tomorrow and it's been gone for 5 days and you can't find the guy to pay the bill and he owes you for 5 days of rental, social security numbers for skip tracing. They're not renting a Corolla. Now, I don't want to beat you up on social security numbers. I'm just making a recommendation. Making a good rental is the walk around. Are you taking videos when you walk around the car?
Sometimes, yeah.
You should be taking a video when you walk around the car all the time. And
Can you,
while
Patrick, are you able to save the pictures and videos?
yeah, you can download them to your computer
Okay.
and save them on your hard drive under the customer's name. You can and then walk around the car, and if there's any dispute, say, well, let's take a look at what it was like when you picked the car up. You can bring it up on the screen.
Yeah, we do.
And you can pay close attention to the tires and so on. The other thing that you should do is take a picture of the dashboard with the ignition on.
The computer.
And it's not really an ignition, it's a starter button or whatever you have.
computer
The key. Because you want to make sure that the airbag light is not on, to make sure that the gauges are all working, and you're getting an accurate amount of charge on the battery, and you're getting the accurate mileage on the car before the car goes out. And you got a picture of it. When the car comes back, you do the same thing in reverse.
Software.
You walk around, take a video, and if you do see some damage, you can go back, pull up the old video and take a look at that quarter panel under the same customer's name, and then show them this was not here. This is when you picked it up. This is when you brought it back. And if there's a dispute, I didn't drive that many miles. Well, here's a picture of the dashboard when you picked the car up. Okay. Whether or not you want to argue for miles, that's entirely up to you. Before the rental is complete, I liked what you did, Indra, when you were showing us how to open the door and how to, controls work and so on. Good idea. The other thing that I liked was because of the fact that you can plug a USB into the radio. You should get a bunch of them with your name on it. Like I talked about the water bottles with your name on it. You can get USBs with your name on it. And your phone number on one side and Rent a Tesla on the other, or any way you want to do it. And I would put the manual on that and put one in every glove box. Okay. so that if the customer does have an issue, he can plug that in and find out what he's got to do to turn it back on. The properly delivered rental sends the customer out with a better working knowledge of the controls and a better understanding of his responsibilities. We have a form on the end of this session with a vehicle checklist. You want to modify that for your use with your cars. Several companies are suggesting that the walk around adds to transaction time. Believe it or not, Hertz will not allow their franchises to load luggage or do a walk around with the customer, because their surveys had comments like, after the walk around, after they loaded the luggage, after loading the luggage and doing a walk around, we were there for 25 minutes after we signed the rental agreement. So Hertz says, don't load any more luggage. We want better surveys. That's why they're broke. Because they lost touch with customer service. That's why they went bankrupt. That's a big chunk of why they went bankrupt. Several companies are suggesting the walk around adds time. Don't worry about the time. You're doing the we used to do a very intense walk around when I had the place in California. And we teach to do a real good walk around. Do you know what? Many customers would turn to me and say, because I would take the new guy out and I would do a walk around with the customer and the new guy looking over my shoulder. And people would turn around and say, you know, nobody ever does that for me. Gee, this is really nice. Okay, good. And then stay in touch with your customer. If the customer is going to have the car for 5 days, I would call them halfway through the rental. How's it going? Just wanted to touch base with you, let you know that we were looking over our rentals, and I saw your rental and I just thought I'd give you a call and see how you're doing. And that's cool. Because then that's when you're going to hear things like, well, actually I had a flat tire and I had to change the spare. Really? Now you got something you want to deal with. Do you want to drive it on that? Why don't you bring it in here and I'll change the tire and put a real tire on there for you instead of that little donut they put in. And I don't know if they put a donut in the Tesla. Walking around the vehicle is important for the customer because we're going to make a good return. Doing your job correctly at the time of rental will make closing the return smoother. Let me give you an example. Okay, Mr. Amy, your total rental is going to be $451.21. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Come on out, let's go walk around the car. And we do all of that and we send Amy on her way. When Amy comes back, I took and I gave her the receipts. I told her I'm going to charge you $451 plus a $500 deposit, $951. Here is your receipt. When Amy brings the car back, Indra is going to close out the contract. Carl, you rented her the car, but you told her what the whole thing is going to cost. When she comes back, Indra is the one that's going to be closing out the contract because it's your day off. And Indra is going to say, okay, your total rental came just what we got written down here, $451.27. Here's your $500 deposit. It went back on your credit card. As of right now, however long it takes for the bank to put it back in your account, we have no control over, but here's your receipt showing that we gave you the money back. Thank you for coming in. Would you like to make another reservation? So it went real nice and smooth. There was no surprises at the end. Okay. The return vehicle inspection is a couple of things you want to make sure. You don't have to start your engine and listen because there's no engine. There's 4 motors or 3 motors in those things. and they're all electric. You want to calculate the charges and know, make sure it just came out to the way it was supposed to. If there are damage charges, this should be part of your policies and procedures. Charge them on a separate invoice, not on your rental agreement. Upon completing the rental contract, the agent closing it out puts his initials or signs it. The customer may have his or her copy, making a copy for the customer's completed transaction, give it to him. Finally, after closing the contract, thank them for their business. And, you know, we really appreciate your business. That's why we're here. Don't forget to ask for a future reservation. And don't forget to say thank you. Okay. I love that picture. The daily closing procedures are next. It's time to go home. Everybody's tired. Closing procedures are necessary for all daily activity. Why am I going through this? You guys already have a closing procedure, right? Yeah, is it written down? Is it written somewhere? Well, that's what you're going to be doing now, is building your policies and procedures.
No,
Huh?
we just know what to do at the end of the day. We just make sure the cars that are going out for tomorrow, the next day, are ready, and that's it.
Then take a look at the screen. Closing procedures are necessary to ensure that all daily activity, all units and rental contracts are accounted for. And the counter is ready for the next morning. This should be, you can copy this word for word if you like, and edit it any way you want into your counter and procedures manual. Proper closing procedures provide efficiency and speed in the morning, affecting better service for your early morning customers. Listed below are a few suggested closing activities. These are some things that you want to pick and choose, if not take them all. Organize the counter to ensure efficiency for the morning shift. Place all early morning returns and reservations in a predetermined location so nobody has to hunt for a rental agreement. There is nothing more frustrating for a customer when they're dropping off a car and the agent cannot find the rental agreement. Okay, make it easy. Separate all overdue rental contracts to contract first thing in the morning. And give them a call tonight before you go home. Find out why it's overdue. Conduct a lot check. Check all available units, making sure no keys are missing and all vehicles are locked. Now, I'm going to give you a tip. Billy Bob brought back the car this afternoon at 3 o'clock when everybody was inside because it was raining. And he parked it up against the building out of sight.
With the window open.
Yeah, and took off because he can't afford to pay the extra day. So here's the car sitting out there with the window open in the rain, and you don't know about it. And as far as you know about it, is you've got his overdue rental in your hand. So it's very important that at multiple times during the day, you conduct a lot check. You print out how many cars you should have available. And the printout says you're going to have 5 cars available. Stick your nose out the window, ladies and gentlemen, and count noses. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's the 5th car? Amy, where's the blue one? I can't find it. Amy says, well, Carl took it over to put a tire on it. Oh, okay. Shame on Carl because he didn't go up to the computer and mark it down as out of service. But what we've just done is we've just balanced inventory. I know it sounds silly, but you balance inventory every day. Print necessary reports for the next business day and make sure there are ready cars for the following day's reservations.
There's 2 reports I think you should run. And they both come beautifully from Rent-Centric. Number 1 is my reservation manifest for tomorrow.
Yep.
I want to know what reservations I have. I want a report of cars due back tomorrow. And of course, I should know what I've got on the lot. And you match the 3 every day. All right.
Perfect example. You've got 5 cars sitting out there. So how many cars can you rent today? You're just opening up the doors. You got 5 cars sitting outside. How many cars can you rent today?
I'm sorry, what was the second form?
So the first was manifest reservation for tomorrow, and the second one,
Cars due back tomorrow.
Thank you.
And then the cars you have today.
Yes.
And as Jim was saying, you got 5 cars on the lot. How many cars can you rent today? The answer might be 5. However, you might have 3 that are due back tomorrow or due back today. Those are possible rentals
So
also.
in reality, I've got 3 cars coming back tomorrow morning. I can rent out, I can take 8 reservations for tomorrow.
That's right.
Okay, so it's very important. Too many people forget that.
And Rent Centric will do it all.
They'll do it all for you. Now, let's talk about balancing the day's business. Every day, you need to balance sales, cash, and inventory. The reason being, at the end of the month, you don't need to scramble in this business. In this business, it's very important. You run your sales reports and balance your sales report against your closed rental agreements. And it's all written out here for you. And if the sales report does not match, you need to correct it as necessary. Why is there showing one contract that is closed out, but I don't have the contract? Where is it? So you want to find it. Balance cash. There should be a cash journal in your daily reports showing all the transactions for the day, which would show your deposits, which would show your prepaid rental. All dollars that you handled should show on your cash journal. And you want to make sure that all of that matches, because you could have a guy that brought a car back and we charged him $65 for charging fees because he didn't get it charged before he brought it back. And it shows on the contract, but it doesn't show where we charged the credit card. So it's not in the cash journal. So before I go home, I got to hit the cash journal, or I got to hit the credit card for that $65. Now my cash balances. Now I'm going to balance inventory. That's when I'm going to stick my nose out the door and I'm going to count noses of the cars that are sitting still. I'm going to look in the shop and I'm going to look outside. And I'm going to add them up. And I want to make sure they match what my units available shows.
Mhm.
Then I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to run overdue rentals. And I'm going to make sure that I call the customer and verify the return date. And if they want to keep it longer, I'm going to hit their credit card for another day. I'm not going to wait till they bring it back. You're going to have some people say, well, can't you take it out of my deposit? No, what would happen if you told your landlord you were going to take this month's rent out of the deposit? He would say, no, thank you very much. And he would be backing up a truck to help you load your furniture as he was throwing you out. So it's not too different with the rental cars. No, we cannot. The whole idea of doing this every day, there's no more scramble at the end of the month to get the month figures in. I will tell you, the last day of the month, last minute that we're open, we're done. Tomorrow morning is the first day of the month. The first rental goes out the door. It's next month's business. Okay. So there's nothing to go chase around, nothing to hang on to. It's just done. turn it over to accounting, and it's up to them to put it into the book.
Just print the totals.
Yeah,
You just get a total report for the month and it's done.
done. Now, there's a couple of things here, extending a contract and so on. These are basics, should be part of your policies and procedures.
Excuse me just a minute.
Sure. By the way, we never took a break again. You guys need to take a break?
I'm all right.
Okay. Accident reporting. Like it or not, accidents are going to happen. All right. Accidents are part of the rental business. When you handle them correctly, you can turn the accident into a positive part of the business. Whenever one of your vehicles is involved in an accident, take the matter very seriously and follow those specific procedures dictated by your insurance carrier. It does not matter how minor the accident is or who is at fault. Do not take even the most seemingly minor accident lightly. Usually you'll get a phone call from the renter. Make sure the customer is at ease. Your customer is probably already upset, and with the situation, get the customer to a comfort level so you can get all the necessary information. It is most vital that you be calm about this. It will help put your renter at ease. Don't start screaming, "What did you do to my car?" Remember, we don't care what it's rubber, paint, and plastic. What we're concerned about is anybody dead or dying? So remember, you have to obtain a lot of information. You need to determine if the accident is severe or if it's simple. You need to decide if it's a minor fender bender or one with severe injuries or damage. For an accident with no injuries, advise the customer to obtain the other car's license plate number, name of the driver, and his or her insurance company. That's all you need. Determine if your car is drivable. If so, have the customer bring it right in. If the customer is too upset to drive the car, go get the car, whether you have to send a tow truck or what, and take the customer home. Tell him or her, don't worry about it. We'll talk to you tomorrow about a new car, another car. But right now you've had a shock to your system. Go home and make sure you're okay. If any doubts about the drivability of the car, have it towed. If the accident is severe, inform the driver to leave the car where it is unless traffic conditions make this impossible. Inform the driver to be sure not to move an injured person unless absolutely necessary. Immediately report the accident to the police. In a severe accident, you must take any steps required to call an ambulance, police, fire department, or a tow company. Historically, most accidents are a broken taillight, a dented fender, or door, usually reported at the counter when the customer returns. Professionally handling this type of accident will make your job collecting damage much more effortless. When the customer comes in with a damaged car, we recommend that you first close out the rental contract and settle the rental charges. Get that all done. The rental is over. Second, take the renter to a quiet place and get out the rubber hose. No, I'm sorry. Take the renter to a quiet place where you can fill out the accident report form properly. Determine any liability for payment and make arrangements. If they bought your collision damage waiver and they're responsible for the first $1,000, collect that $1,000 right there and then, and put it on another credit card. In every accident, severe or not, fill out an accident report form supplied by your insurance company and report it to your insurance company. The papers are simple to fill out. Be confident that it is complete and detailed. You must get a signature from the driver. This will protect you from any possible after the fact claims. Remember, An accident report is not to punish the driver for having an accident. That's the least of our worries. Although I'd like to take them out back and slap them a couple times. You can't do that. And it's not meant to punish the driver. It's meant to keep and protect your company. So I want to get accurate information. Now, some people are going to say, I don't want to sign this. I don't sign nothing. Okay, no problem. You sign it. And you write, you put down customer refused to sign, and then you sign it. And you give them a copy of it. The decision to give the customer another car is yours. Keep in mind the facts of the accident and the possible injuries. He could be hurt. She could be hurt. She could have hit her head. We don't want to give her another Tesla. They may feel fine, but 24 hours later, I neck. And remember, that's not your responsibility. Anybody in the car is not your responsibility. It's the driver's. A good suggestion is to photograph the damage along with a picture of the license plate, put it in your file, and then just send the car out and get it repaired. Anytime one of your vehicles is in an accident, even if it's minor, it should be in your policies and procedures to have it repaired and inspected before renting it again.
Good job, we fixed that. No camera.
Forward a copy of the accident report form directly to your insurance company and any other information they may need. Set up a file for this accident. Include your copy of the accident report form and a copy of the police report. And you want a police report on everything. With most accidents, one would expect that the police would take a report at the scene. In many larger cities, there are not enough police officers to go around. Therefore, they usually only respond when there are injuries or deaths. That being the case, the individual needs to go to the police department and fill out an incident report. The accident report is for information for the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. When the police come to the scene and take a report, it's all done for you. But if the police do not show up, the customer has to go there, especially for some damage that happens on private property, like a Walmart parking lot. Unfortunately, it usually falls back on the rental operator. It is your advantage to make sure the state is made aware of every accident. And you get a copy of that report to send to the insurance company, whether it is the driver's insurance or yours. At worst, it is a little extra work, but you will get paid faster from insurance companies and possibly protect your company from lawsuits. And we have a simple claim form that it's actually a copy of the one that you get from GMI. Employee training. I know you don't have any folks like that in Florida. With a baby on a hip, a beer bottle, a shotgun, and a four-wheel drive. And if you'll notice, the four-wheel drive is kind of muddy. All too often. David, you want to do this one?
Sure.
What was her
All
name?
too often, we run into, and I run into operators that'll spend $1 million to open up a business. And then they turn it over to a clerk with no experience and no knowledge to run it. Because the real question here is who's running the business? All right. The rental clerk is running the business. The one that has contact with your customer is the one who's running your business. And if that person is good with people and brings in rentals, that's a very valuable employee. However, you're going to bump into some of them that just answer the phone and hang up, and they think that's their job. All right. And they're not helping you build a business. So remember, in my opinion, the rental agent is the one that is actually running the business. So the question is, are they adequately trained? and who trained them. If you've got a rental agent training a new rental agent, is the one doing the training the valuable person who really understands what they're doing? Because they should be motivated to build the business, not just answer phones. All right. So it's a good time also in management for you to sit there and take a look at your operating plan and start the process of making the company fit your vision. What is your vision? Where do you want this place to be by this time next year? Or in the next 90 days or the next 6 months? Who do you have that is going to help you get there? And are they trained in how to help you get there? All right. And are you building people in that will work with you to fit that plan? The next thing you want to ask yourself, and I don't understand how this was written, but ask yourself if you're working in your business or on your business. If you are running around moving cars, taking cars to get a flat tire fixed, washing the floors, blah, blah, blah. If that's what you're doing, you're working in your business. You're simply an employee doing an employee's work. You're not working on your business. What are the things that would say you're working on your business? Do you have a business plan? How close are you in reaching your goals with your business plan? What is your marketing move? What did you do for marketing today? What did you do to build the business today? Moving that car from lot A to lot B did not build your business. All right. Making a rental helped build your business. All right. Making sure that your people are helping you build the business is building the business. Marketing is building your business. All right. Saying or looking at your P&L or your pro forma, how close are we? What's our real cost? When is our break-even day? All right, how many rental days are we selling per car? What's our revenue per car per month? How can we build it? All of this comes out of your software system and will tell you what you're doing. And this is when you're working on your business. All right. And again, you know, having a correctly organized company with proper planning and trading it just naturally grows. A good, well-run, properly built business grows. A poorly run, poorly planned business will fail. Unless you've got something super special. And right now you probably do. But there's a lot of Teslas for rent out there. Again, I would call it the difference between Nordstrom and Sears. All right. Properly run versus improperly run. I can also make the comparison of Enterprise to Hertz. All right. Properly run in their method, but hey, these guys went from 5 cars in the local market to 1,200,000 cars and became the #1 car rental in the country and beat the pants off of Hertz. And they did it from the local market. So whether you like Enterprise or not, a lot of people don't. I cannot argue about their business plan and their success. Okay, so review who does what and how. And is what they're doing helping you build the business, or is it just busy work? All right. And I want you to remember, I think we might have mentioned it before. What do your employees do when they don't have anything to do? The only thing they do is complain about Carlo. because that's what they do. All right. And managers have a hard time understanding it because most managers think they're good people, everybody loves them, and they're the manager now, and everybody is proud of that.
Nah.
Not true. Not true.
Nah.
99% of the employees have never seen a good manager. All right, in their eyes. So don't be surprised if all they're doing is complain about you, so keep them busy. And make sure that their time is focused on what you want. Proper contact with the customer, good solid rentals, helping you build the business. And you want to create job description for each. You don't want people who are overlapped in what they do. All right, except for maybe the process of cross training. In other words, in a small operation, I might have somebody out there cleaning cars. And I might have somebody working on the counter doing the rentals. But neither one of them are going to be there the 60 hours that my store is open. So I want to cross train. I want the person on the counter to understand how to wash a car. Oh my God. All right. I want them to know the process, and I want the person on the lot to understand the process of making a good rental so that if necessary, they can swap positions for a moment, or one can fill in for the other while one of them's out to lunch, et cetera, et cetera. The manager shouldn't be filling in for the guy on the lot. And the manager shouldn't be filling in for the person on the counter. The manager should be doing what we already discussed. Building the business, not running the counter.
Now, I want to add something here. Creating job descriptions. How do I find a job description? What should I write down? No. You write down, you hire Billy Bob to wash cars. Poor Billy Bob. I got him renting cars and dropping them off and having accidents, and now he's washing cars. Billy, your job is to keep cars clean. So I'm going to write up a job description. Billy Bob, job description, keep the cars clean. Here's your job description, and here's a pen. Everything that you do during the day, I want you to write it down. And I want you to create, he's creating his job description without you having to spend the time on it. He's going to write down everything. And then at the end of the month, end of the day, end of the week, you can sit down and say, okay, Billy, that's really not your job. You should not be taking the car down and put gas in it. So that's Tommy's job. Tommy's on the lot. His job is to make sure that the car is charged, not you. So we're going to take that away, and I'm going to add that to Tommy's job description. So what I just did there is I'm giving the employees the ability to create their job description that fits what I want. And then somewhere along the line, I'm going to say, Billy, this is really good, except you didn't put down here cleaning out the ashtrays. Well, nobody smokes anymore, but you didn't put down here cleaning out the glove box. It's very important to clean out the glove box. We don't want any rental agreements left in the glove box from somebody that rented it last week. We want to make sure that that's in there. And so we add that. And then as the business grows, everybody's job description grows. Rather than creating it. And I've had people say, well, with all the people that you work with, don't you have copies of job descriptions? No, because every business is different. Okay.
I would also strongly suggest, I don't know where we are in this program yet. I would strongly suggest a good incentive program in your business. All right, and throughout the business. In your rate structure and so forth, from my experience, say you pay $5 for each rental made, to the person who made the rental. And you put another $5 per rental in the kitty. At the end of the month, you open the kitty and share it equally amongst the employees. All right. And I used to have an incentive. I don't know if I mentioned it before. I used to pay my lot people $1 for every rental made. And you know, when you're renting 400 cars a day, it can add up real fast. But if I had a complaint on the condition of a car, or I spotted a dirty car when I'm walking my ready line, we would take, I forget now, it was either $10 or $20 out of the kitty. So they could make a buck a car washing them, but they would lose 10 or 20 if it was dirty. And it worked beautifully. In a smaller operation, the two most, the two-ish cars that we were renting that people really liked were the Jeep and the convertible. And they were priced high, and it was $75 over whatever you had reserved. And I was paying $5 to the person who made the rental and throwing $5 in the kitty. And I'm telling you, I didn't have to manage that front counter at all. Those people were selling and enjoying it. Not lying, not hard sell, none of that. I wouldn't tolerate any of that. But they would say, well, sir, you know, you've got a reservation for a compact. You know, we have a Jeep out there. Would you really like to try a Jeep? All right. And bang, they pick up their $5. So there are all kinds of things, but I've found that a business that has a good solid incentive does better than one that does not. And the simpler the incentive, the better. If you cannot explain it in less than 30 seconds, it will not work. And these tiered systems, if you hit a certain plateau, forget it. I've never seen one that worked. This is, again, don't let me come on too strong. This is my opinion from my experience, all right? The simple stuff works. KISS method of management, KISS, keep it simple and stupid, right? That's what works. Okay, Jim.
No job is completed until the paperwork is done. I love this little picture. This was David. How old were you here, David?
Then?
Yeah.
A whole lot of years younger than today. Although the general expression is similar.
It's similar today, yes. We have put in some forms in the back of the manual, and we are finished. We're not going to beat you up by trying to teach you forms. These forms are for you to use. Edit them the way you are comfortable. Take out it's so funny when I see somebody, they copy me and they say, I sent this and the customer didn't pay attention. And all of what I have written here was on the form because they just copied and pasted my form, including the instructions to them. No, take it, copy what you need and put it on your papers, on your letterhead. There's customer things, and this is for the accounting people, okay? This is a simple chart of accounts that's accepted by the rental car business. Both for revenue and so on. And this is way too many accounts as far as I'm concerned. All right. As a manager, as an owner, I only want to know what is my variable operating expense. My software on the front end is going to tell me how much PAI and PAEC premium I sold. It's gonna tell me how much I spent for tolls. It's gonna tell me how much I spent for collision. All I want to know is what is my variable operating expense, and next month it's gonna be, or last month it was $600 per car. Okay, so now I got to get on that and find out why it's so much. Then I'll drill down. So these are all the accounts you should ever need. And like I say, there's too many,
Mhm,
but it's a start.
mhm.
Insurance replacement authorization in case you do some insurance replacement. Notice of demand of a return of vehicle. If the car doesn't come back, you can edit this, copy and paste it. Don't take this part and copy and paste it onto the thing. You get the picture.
Okay.
Public relations. You're going to be doing some PR stuff. All right. Just an idea how to do a PR release. Accident report form. This is a checklist that works out well with all insurance companies, regardless of who you're sending it to. And here's the corporate claims folks loss report, which is pretty simple. You will have an updated one with your policy packet that GMI sent you. A direction to pay. If your body shop is willing to do the billing, then you put in the direction to pay, have the customer sign it so that they send the check to the body shop, not to you. You're not going to rent 15 passenger vans. And then these are vehicle checklists. You can take this and copy and paste and do whatever you got to do for yourself. And a simple reservation form for a manual reservation system. That, boys and girls, concludes today's, what's the word? Today's episode of How to Run a Rental Car Business. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
David at Schallberg.com is his address. Jim at
I'm sorry, say
Schallberg.com.
it again.
Yeah, David at Schallberg.com, which is SCHALBERG.com.
Yeah.
And Jim at Schallberg, SCHALBERG.com. And Auto Rental Solutions. Now, Carl, I want to send you a PowerPoint presentation on marketing
Okay.
that I've used in the past. But the email addresses that I was sending to keep bouncing back. What is your email address?
Carl, CARL, at try-a-tesla, TESLA.com.
Yeah, because I was sending it to
Falls Park.
the park. Yeah.
It's okay,
Klaus
Klaus
Park.
Park, and we had Klaus E Park. That is bouncing back. That is not working.
The E.
Ah.
Without E, Klaus, without E.
ClausPark.com also works, but let's use the Tesla so we're concentrating on the right business.
Yeah, I'll do the tryatesla.com.
The same for me. If you have anything, any links, it's info at try-a-tesla.com.
Indra is INDRE.
Correct. Good job,
Yeah.
Carl.
Question. Can I sign you guys up for our marketing and newsletter?
Sure.
Good. So if you get some stuff from us, you'll know, or if you get something from Auto Rental Solutions, that's us.
Okay.
And usually it's tips, notes, things like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you, guys. Have a profitable day. Rent
Appreciate
a Tesla today, please. how many cars you got on road right now?
A lot. It's Tuesday. They all came back, so we have 15.
Okay. So you have 15 cars on rent?
Maybe 13.
Okay.
Yes.
So time to work those phones. All right. Thank you, guys. God bless. Be careful.
Thank
bless.
you.
Bye-bye.
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 Hey,
Good. That went well.
never did marketing.
No, I'm going to send him that email.
That whole section didn't even do.
No, that's why I'm going to send it to him separately.
David Bond quoted, did you see my email?
I have not, no. I have
Ah.
541 emails because
Oh, okay.
the website was down over
David-
the weekend.
Oh,
Yeah,
David Bond said he'll insure our guy
yeah.
in Miami, $228.50.
Oh, man, we got to call Ariel right away.
Yeah, and I need the application. It's your format. I've got to convert it over to GMI format. And I'm gonna have to get a lot of questions answered from Ariel. So there's a lot of work there to get this through David, but
Okay,
he can quote it.
all right. I'm
And,
going to,
Kind of irritating. It's kind of irritating because 2 weeks ago he couldn't quote. Now he can. So don't question it, just take it.
just take it.
So
right?
find the application and send it to me.
Okay,
And I'll work it over with David and Ariel. Don't have much time. We have another session starting at 2:00.
I know. So I'll find it right now and send it to you.
Yeah. And then Steve DeVore sent me an email late yesterday that he was changing his name, the
Okay,
business name. And he's on a couple of finance sources that are requiring a quote in the new business name.
okay.
So I contacted David and bang, he did it and sent it back to me about 6:00. And then 6:30, I sent it over to Steve DeVore.
Awesome.
And then 7:00 last night or this morning, I forget which, Steve DeVore sent back, fantastic, thank you. I can't believe the service. Well, it was an accident, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm doing
We don't need to tell him that though.
Yeah, I'll take it.
You bet. All
Okay, I'll leave.
right,
it
I'll
to-
find Ariel's application and I'll send it over right
send it
now.
to me. I'll take care of the rest and then we have a 2:00 session.
Awesome.
Okay,
Thanks, boss. I'll see you too.
okay, bye.